You're probably watching this video right now because you do have trouble sleeping. So I'm going to take a few moments to try to help you deal with the problem you have with sleeping, which is very common. It's the most common experience that people have in this country. Many people just have trouble sleeping. So let me try to help you. Let me start by explaining there are 3 different kinds of what we call sleep disorders. If you have a problem sleeping, you have a sleep disorder. The first you may be familiar with is called insomnia. Insomnia is defined as an inability to fall asleep within the first 10 minutes of going to sleep. We'll talk about that more in a few minutes when we talk about the 4 cycles of sleep. So again, insomnia is defined as the inability to fall asleep within the first 10 minutes of going to bed. Second is sleep disruption. A sleep disruption is defined as being disrupted or interrupted from sleep, usually at the same time every night, and unable to go back to sleep within 10 minutes after being awakened. So it's not like you got up and you had to go use the bathroom and you came back and went to sleep. This is waking up at 2 o'clock every morning and you can't get back to sleep within that 10 minutes of waking up. The other is early rising. And early rising is defined as getting up an hour or more earlier than you want to and unable, again, to go back to sleep within the first 10 minutes of trying to go to sleep. So if you normally want to get up at 5 o'clock and you find yourself getting up at 3:30 but can't go back to sleep, you would have early rising. Now let me make a little further explanation about sleep. We've learned so much about sleep, especially with MRIs and real-time brain scans being given that we've learned so much about sleep that's so helpful. There are 2 types of sleep. NREM, which is non-REM sleep, and REM sleep. I think many of you know that REM stands for rapid eye movement, and NREM stands for non-rapid eye movement. Those that study sleep discovered a number of years ago, in real time with brain scans, for example, that a phenomenon occurred during sleep in which underneath the eyelid, that eye was moving up and down very rapidly. And it quickly became associated with, is known as the dream state. And it would occur at least in healthy sleep for 90 minutes, broken up into different segments perhaps, during sleep. The first cycle, let me take you back to the cycles. The first cycle of sleep is what we call sleep cycle begins. It's non-REM. There is no rapid eye movement. It is a light sleep when the mind is transitioning from being awake to going to sleep. In healthy sleep, if I may say, this will occur within the first 5 to 10 minutes of what we call going to bed as opposed to being asleep. So that first 10 minutes or so, there's a transitional stage that the person will experience between being awake and starting to fall asleep. The second cycle in sleep is falling asleep. Again, it's non-rapid eye movement stage of sleep. That's when the person is less aware of the surroundings, their body temperature will drop, the breathing rate becomes heavier, and it lasts about 20 minutes. So this is the kind of thing that you may experience where you're starting to fall asleep and you think somebody may have come into the room. You're not sure if somebody came into the room. I think maybe somebody did, but you know what? You don't care. You're staying in bed. You're going to sleep. And so those first 2 stages of the cycle usually happen within 30 minutes. The third stage is what we call deep sleep. And again, is non-REM sleep. The muscles become very relaxed. The blood pressure and breathing drops. Transition from falling asleep into deep sleep. It's the deepest sleep a person will experience. If someone you know is snoring, they're in deep sleep. Most of a person's sleep occurs at that stage. If you have children, as you may remember, it's fascinating to watch them during the sleep, and maybe you've noticed they're flopping all over the bed. That's because they're in this deep sleep where the muscles are so relaxed They're just flopping all over the place. Now the last stage is the dream state, or REM sleep. Now I'm going to talk a little bit more about that to understand what's going on, because that's the most important part of sleep. Now these stages that I just described don't necessarily need to occur sequentially. A person may start at stage 1, falling asleep, and they could jump over to deep sleep without going through number 2. Or they could get up, go to the bathroom, start with number 2, and then go to 3, or go straight to 3, whatever it might be. So don't think of it as to be 1, 2, 3, and 4. The important part in sleep is REM sleep, because if you don't get sleep, it's because you didn't get REM sleep. If you ever had the experience where you slept 7, 8 hours a night, but you woke up the next morning feeling like you didn't get any sleep at all. I slept 8 hours, but I feel like I don't have any energy, I don't want to go to work, like I got no sleep. It's because you didn't get REM sleep. During REM sleep, what happens is the brain is recharging. For many years, scientists didn't understand what was going on during REM sleep. They knew it occurred, but not till more sophisticated brain scans could be developed that they noticed during REM sleep, the brain lit up. And it is in fact the most active time the brain is having. Think of your cell phone. If you don't recharge your cell phone, you can't use it. But when you put it in to charge it, it suddenly is firing up so that you can use it the way it's supposed to function. So the REM, or the rapid eye movement, is the time in which the brain is recharging itself. That's why it's so important. Now, it can occur at any time during the 3 stages, anywhere from 90 to 120 minutes, or 20% of the sleep cycle. If a person doesn't get REM sleep, they won't be able to function the next day. They won't be able to concentrate. They'll feel tired. Now, keep in mind, REM sleep has to occur within a 24-hour cycle. So if I go to bed tonight and I don't get any REM sleep, I can't make up for it by taking a nap the next day or by going to bed an hour earlier. If it doesn't occur within that 24-hour section, game over, because it starts again in the next 24-hour section. And so if I don't get REM sleep within the first, for 1 or 2 days, I will begin to not be able, I'll be irritable, grouchy, impatient, unable to concentrate, not being focused. If it goes on for beyond 5 days, there's a possibility of even having a psychotic break. So, what to do about your sleep if you have a sleep disorder and you're not getting REM sleep? One of the most important things you can do is don't look at the clock. The moment you look at your cell phone or your clock, or the clock, and you realize I'm getting up at 5 o'clock and it's 3 o'clock and I haven't slept at all, you become so anxious that you're going to interrupt your ability to go through the sleep cycles to get REM sleep. So get rid of the clock. More importantly, I know this, I'm going to make 2 suggestions here that many of us don't want to hear. Get rid of the cell phone. Do not have the cell phone in your bedroom. I'm pausing for you to understand that. Don't have the cell phone in the bedroom. The other thing, get rid of the TV in the bedroom. Here's why I'm asking you to do these things. Don't do work on a laptop in the bedroom. The brain functions with patterns. The bed is meant to sleep, and sleep for the bed. That's how the brain is naturally wired. If I go to bed and I start to work on my laptop, the brain gets confused. Are we going to sleep? Are we going to work? I start to watch the TV. The brain gets confused. Are we going to sleep, or are we being entertained? I go on my Facebook. The brain gets confused. Are we going to sleep? Are we going on Facebook? The bed should simply be for sleep. So the brain begins to make a connection between the bed and sleep not between the laptop or whatever else, because it won't go to sleep. If you're unable to go to sleep within that first 10 minutes or the sleep disruption, early rising, get up. Do not stay in the bed and be awake, because the brain will get puzzled by that. Get up, out of bed, go into another room where it's quiet, where you can read, or where you can do some specific activities until you feel like you're going to fall asleep. Then go back to the bed, because again, you're trying to associate sleep with the bed and not anything else. I think it's been taken as a joke, but sometimes I encourage those that are particularly Christians that if you can't sleep in that 10 minutes I've been speaking about, get out of bed and go into your study or the living room and read the Bible or pray, especially pray, because you'll start to fall asleep. We all know that if we try to read the Bible or pray, we just start to fall asleep. And that's okay. Then you go back to bed. Some practical suggestions as well. Look at the sleep environment. Is it too dark? Is it too light? Is it noisy? Is there a TV in the room? Is there a cell phone in the room? These kind of distractions. Also think about substance use. Are you drinking coffee? Are you drinking tea? Are you smoking before going to bed? These things are all stimulants. Do you have any medications that you're taking that might interfere with your sleep disorder? Do a sleep journal, and that will be my final comment here. Create a journal in which you can identify the pattern of your sleep. And in the sleep journal, take a week and just jot down when you go to bed and go to sleep, when do you get up. And the brain, again, functions with patterns. What you want to try to do is create a pattern of sleep that is consistent. So if you're going to sleep one night at 8 o'clock, and on a Friday night you're out to 2 o'clock in the morning, the brain gets confused. Choose a time where you want to go to sleep, and want to get up, and create that as your sleep pattern. For me, for many years of my sleep patterns, I go to sleep at 10 o'clock, I get up at about 6 o'clock or 7. And that's my sleep pattern. Consistency is important. So once again, identify first of all, what sort of sleep disorder do you have? Is it insomnia? Is it sleep disruption? Is it early rising? Ask yourself, am I fatigued when I get up even though I've slept? Am I getting the REM sleep I know I need? Because that's the purpose of sleep, is to recharge your brain. If you're not, begin to take a look at, have I confused my brain by making the bed for something other than sleep? And then take a look at your sleep environment and what you may be taking before you go to bed, and create a sleep journal. And hopefully that information and those suggestions will improve your sleep. You're welcome to contact us if you have any further questions about your sleep problem. Thank you for listening. God bless you.